All right, I am in my 22 account. I just played some one-on-one. Posted a video for that in Tour 3 with basic stuff. But this video, let's talk about your first tournament. So we have a tournament going on this week called the Acacia Reserve Tournament, and I made it through the qualifying round, and I'm in the opening round. So when you first come in here and you're playing a tournament, don't worry. I remember the first tournament I ever played in. I got butterflies. You're all nervous. You're just playing one-on-one. You're just playing by yourself. Don't worry about what your opponent does. Don't be a D-bag and emoji spam your opponent. Be a grown-up. Most people that play this game are grown-ups, or at least they're supposed to be grown-ups, because your opponent can help you. If your opponent sinks some shot, and if you got lower level stuff and they get lucky and they sink some shot, that could end up saving you. And you could end up saving your opponent. So it always amazes me when your opponent's in the drink, or they're in the rough and they're all pissed off and they're emoji spamming you, trying to screw your game up. It's like, dude, if I get an Albie or an eagle on this hole, I'm going to save you. Why are you interfering with my game? And it's just people not recognizing the deal. But when you're playing, don't be too... Just go out there and play. Just have fun. Just play your game. It's helpful to take notes. I would recommend, and I don't know why I didn't do this when I first started playing, is to get a notepad, a notebook, so you can write notes and you can keep all of your tournaments in one notebook. I've got pieces of paper. I've got a drawer full of pieces of paper where I wrote notes down. But keep notes. You can also go, there's a lot of groups out there, if you're on Facebook, and I don't do a lot of stuff in social media, but if there is a lot of groups out there where you can get note sheets, where it'll show you kind of a picture of the hole, kind of like what we get right here. It'll show you this picture of the hole, and so you can write down what notes you got and you can mark it up. But let's go, first of all, I've went through and I've been playing with just beginner stuff, and I have switched to the most important club to me when you got beginner stuff is your shots when you're up close to the green, because there's a lot of times you're going to find yourself right off of the green, and those shots with your wedge can really suck. But with the Firefly, I've got two tools that I'm looking for these shots, and I'm not looking for and I may not be looking for the same thing in clubs that everybody else is looking for, and not every club am I looking for the same thing. Like, I'm not necessarily looking for topspin in every club. I don't need lots of topspin in every club. Having topspin is nice, but the more topspin you have in your wedge, the farther you can run your ball guide. So you can come up on a shot and you can run max topspin, and then it'll flatten out on the course and it'll run right to the cup, and you can actually get a bead on the cup. And having 72 topspin is enough topspin for me to be able to get that effect, and having great ball guide. The rest of these numbers that are on here, it is, to me, if you're in a situation with your wedge where you have to do curl, you're in a recovery spot, and this is not going to come up very often. I do not want to have to use curl with my wedge. If my wedge had zero curl, and 99.9% of the times, that's going to be fine. I don't need to have curl. Having some accuracy is better than not having accuracy in this club. The more accurate it is, when you're up close, you could hit a great to the left or the right and it'll still go in. But when it's at this kind of accuracy, or if it's at the 10 accuracy or the 0 accuracy, this is what you get with the beginner stuff, and you hit it great to the left or the right, even though you're right next to the cup, you're going to miss it. So having some accuracy here definitely will help. But I've got beginner clubs. I mean, what can I expect? I can't expect all that in a beginner club. But what I am getting right off the bat is topspin and ball guide. And those are the two things. The power is not going to be that big of a deal for us. If we're in, most of the stuff when we're brand new is going to be right off the green, because we just couldn't quite make it. So these are the two things I'm looking for. This club right here will change your game if you got beginner stuff. The other club that I just got is an extra mile, and having an extra mile will definitely... Now, there are some holes, and I talked about this in the last video that I did, where this ball guide's not necessarily going to hurt you with the extra mile. It would be nice to have more, but it doesn't kill you. Especially when you're looking at a fairway where the fairway just keeps going. Because with this type of club, it's very, and this distance and that much topspin, it's very unlikely. It's not that it's out of the question. On a lot of the holes, if you don't do any overpower, on a lot of these holes, you're going to be fine just hitting it max club, just hitting it out there. But because most of the fairways are going to be farther forward, and you're going to be looking at green for a while before you run into a rough area or the sand or whatever. So you're not gonna have enough to get out that far. It's not going to matter. Just hit it out there, and you're fine. Where it can cause a problem is when you have areas where, like, you're hitting here and the fairway ends, and then there's a rough area, and then the fairway continues on the other side, and you just need to lay it up right there as close as you can. Now that ball guide becomes a factor, because you can't tell, you can't tell. If the ball guide's ending, you know, do I leave it here or do I pull it back so it's going to run out, or do I need to be a little bit... You're not going to know. You're going to have to take that shot a couple times to figure it out. So in most cases, when you're brand new, the extra mile is not going to hurt you. It's going to help you. But there will be times where you'll go, damn, I wish I had a little bit more ball guide so I could tell where I'm going. This is the only reason why it's important to join clans, is because you can get access to other bags. So as your clan gets higher ranked, so if you're in rookie, or if you're in pro, if you're in expert, or if you're in masters, you can open up 5 bags, and you can have 5 different bags. And in my bags, all 5 of the bags have a different driver, and every other club is the same, except for in my bag number 3, I have a different wood. But other than that, all the other clubs, the long iron, the short iron, the wedge, the rough iron, and the sand wedge, are the same in every bag. The only clubs that change is the driver, and in that one bag I have a different wood. Because there will be holes that if you come out with you may go, wow, you know, on this particular hole with that driver, it would have been nicer to have my quarterback in there. I didn't need to hit it that far, but you know, a little bit of ball guide, some ball guide, any ball guide might have been better. The quarterback really doesn't, when it gets to, I think, level 2 or level 3, this goes up, and it's not a bad deal. Not bad. And the Rocket, let's compare some of these clubs. Let's go to drivers. We look at a Rocket. So a basic is at 190, and we're at 2. So I got to get my Rocket to level 3 in order to pick up some more ball guide and pick up a little bit more distance. The rest of these numbers aren't too important to me at this point. Here, with your driver, a lot of times what you're looking for is you're looking for distance. So you'd like some more distance and some more topspin. Backspin does come up with your driver, but when you've got beginner stuff and it only hits this far, this number right here is not going to be that big of a factor when you're brand new. Having a little bit of curl is nice in your driver, because there's a lot of shots where you want it to lean a little bit to the right, or you want it to lean a little bit to the left, and having just a little teeny bit can help you. We know how to do the wind ring method if you've been watching these videos. And so this number, as far as accuracy goes, it is more accurate at 50 when it first starts, and it gets to 70, it gets to 76 at level 5. So here it's 1.5 per ring. Here it's 1.6. Here it's 2. So it is a little bit more accurate than the 2.8 per ring that we get with beginner stuff. But if you know how to work out the wind ring method, it's not that much more difficult. The thing is, now you got to start writing numbers down. But with the extra mile, that little bit of distance, there's some of these holes that's going to really, really be nice. But I really don't want to upgrade my Rocket until I could get it to level 5 when it gets the 3.1 ball guide. Up to that point, it's not that big of a deal. It does hit a little bit farther, and like I said, it does have a little bit of topspin, so you are going to net more yardage out of it than you would with your basic driver. How far can I get it right now? I've got 176 cards, so that means I could get it to level 4. Where would that put me? I'm at level 4. Level 4 is right here. So if I upgraded it, it's going to cost me 900,000, 1,240 coins in order to upgrade it to level 8. And you got to think about coinage when you first start. Don't upgrade clubs every time you get enough to upgrade them, because there's a bunch of these clubs you're just not going to use. There's a bunch of these clubs that we are going to use, but there's a bunch that we're not going to use, and it's not worth spending any coinage on. At some point down the road, you'll have enough cash that you can go, hey, I'm just going to upgrade all my clubs so I can get them all up on track. But at the beginning, do not do that. Be very selective. Go out there and play in Tour 2 until you get 100 games. You've opened up 100 chests. And learn how to play those clubs, because every club has the same wind ring adjustment. They're all at 10 accurate, so it's super easy to remember what to move because every club's exactly the same. When you start opening up these other clubs, now you're starting to deal with, now I got a 76 on one club, and I got a 10 on another, and I got a 35 on another club, and so every club, so now you will have to start looking at a sheet of paper and starting to write some numbers down. In the tournament, let's think about what clubs. I'm gonna upgrade some of my clubs here and play, but I'm just trying to think. Is it really? I can get some accuracy right here, and it won't cost me anything. And I get a little teeny bit of distance, and I get that little teeny bit of topspin versus. What's the level 4 rocket? So my distance is about the same. I was getting a little bit of topspin with the quarterback, and this is at 2.4 ball guide versus the 2.0. And I really think that at where I'm at right now, and what I really like, I think, when you get to, let's go down to quarterback. When you get your quarterback to level 2, you just get a few more cards in it. It gets to 2.7, stays at the same distance, does pick up a little bit of topspin, accuracy goes up. You know, this right here is not that bad of a club for us. And I think like once I get my I really just feel like playing with my quarterback and not spending the coins to upgrade the rocket at this point. Because very shortly the quarterback will take its place. Now, here's the thing about the quarterback. Let's go into clubs again. Being a level 4, so I have to get up to level 4 in order to get those. I got this through one of the Golf Pass season, one of those season chests. The Viper. Now this might be a club worth upgrading because I might be able to get some more power in my, and I get some spin, because there's a lot of these holes at the beginning when we're playing with the beginning stuff that we'd like a little bit of spin, but ball guide would really be nice. When you're coming into the green, ball guide would really be nice. Really be nice. So the Viper's not going to get any significant ball guide increase until it gets to level 5. Level 4, it does get a little bit better, but level 5, that 2.9, now we're talking some significant stuff. And it gets to the point where it's 2 per ring. So it's pretty easy to remember. Still no topspin, and we got a little bit of backspin, and backspin will help us with this club, where we can kind of whoa it up a little. So in order to get to level 5, I need 184 cards. So let's see if I have 184 cards. I don't know that I do. I have 132, so I could get it to level 4. What does it got at level 4? When we're looking here. So it did pick up a little bit of ball guide. Distance picked up 5 yards. I'm still not getting any topspin, but the backspin might be helpful. Backspin might be helpful, but it's going to cost me 1,000 for that to get it to that level, 800 the level before, and 300 here. So we got 2240. So in order to upgrade that one club to get it up there, 2240, it's what, pretty close to 15%, 12.5 to 15%, somewhere in that neighborhood of my entire bankroll just to upgrade that one club to get it to that point. So bankroll is pretty important when you first start playing. So it's really easy to burn through your bankroll upgrading some of these clubs. So don't upgrade it if you're not going to use it. I was kind of hoping that I would get a Horizon. Just one Epic and get the Horizon, because if I got the Horizon, I'd play with it right off the bat because it's got great ball guide for coming into the hole. It's got topspin to help me get there. It doesn't have any backspin, and it is nice to have backspin. It does give me some distance, so when I leave myself short from the drive, I can get back up there. I'm not really sure if I want to upgrade my Viper. We'll see. Let me see what other clubs do I got here. Long iron, the Backbone, or the Saturn. The Saturn at this point isn't even as good as far as ball guide. What the Saturn does give me though is that you can recover a lot. Your long iron does several things. You're mostly hitting your long iron when you're coming into the cup, so it's like a money shot. This is a club that makes you money. But there are those occasions where your rough or your long iron is what is saving you because you got behind the trees and you're having to get around them. So having some curl and having some of those tools is important. Having some backspin, having some topspin. What I'd really like to see on this club is ball guide. If it had ball guide here, then we're really talking about it's becoming money, but I'm not sure where it starts to get its ball guide. Where does the Saturn? Let's go to long irons. Long irons. The Grim Reaper, which is the backspin club. Okay, you're going to get backspin with it. Actually, it doesn't start off too bad with 125 and 2.4 ball guide, and it gets to 3 pretty quick, just level 2. Really what you're looking for is when it goes past that, when you get like 3.6 or 2.6. What that means is here's bounce number 1, so that's 1 ball guide. There's bounce number 2, that's 2 ball guide. There's bounce number 3, that's 3 ball guide. So 2.4 is going to give you here. Where you really want to be is when you're past the halfway mark, because you can kind of extrapolate it a little bit better as far as like where that next bounce is going to be, so you can really kind of guide it to the cup. When you got like 3 point or 1.1 and you're here, the 1.1 doesn't do you. It's not that much better than just having 1. It is better, but it's not that much better. Sometimes I actually think it might be worse, because then it kind of tricks your eye and then you're trying to figure out, well, how far is that going to go? So I've got enough on my backbone. Let's see where I could get my backbone to. Long iron. I got 123, so I can get it to level 4. So I can get my backbone to level 4. And how much better is that than the standard one? I can get it to here. Gives me half a ball guide more. Does give me some curl, gives me some backspin, gives me some topspin, a little more accurate and a little bit more distance. So it's not a bad deal to have it. I played with a backbone for a long, long time. A maxed out backbone until they came out with the I love the Saturn, but I was trying to play with the backbone because it is at 92 accurate. It was super accurate, but more accurate than the Saturn. But when they revamped the Grizzly, I switched to the Grizzly. And I didn't like a backbone when I played with it before, so but I think I'm going to have to upgrade my backbone. Wouldn't mind getting some of those Grim Reapers, though. If you could get a Grim Reaper just to level 2 or 3, think about, with a backbone, it's going to take you all the way to level 7, level 8 before you get to the 3.0 or over the 3.0 as far as curl. The Backbone or the Grim Reaper starts off with better curl backspin. It starts off with shit. You're not going to get to higher backspin until you get to level 6 with the Backbone. No topspin, but you do get a little when you get to level 2, and that would be just a little nice. But you don't get much with the Backbone either. Accuracy wise, it's not nearly as accurate, but really if you're doing the wind ring method, that's not that big of a problem, and it has more distance. So I really wish that I would have got a Grim Reaper. At least even if I got it at level 1, I would play with it right now, because I really don't want to have to spend the cash to upgrade my Backbone at this stage. But let me write that number down. So the Backbone, if I want to upgrade it, is 2240. And I have determined that I'm playing with the Firefly. Rough iron. Not sure which one of these gets more. 75, 82. And I've got enough on my machete to upgrade it. I've got 43. I can upgrade it to what, level 3? So a level 3 machete, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to do that. But you can see how much it costs. It costs 1,600 coins. Let me look at my clubs. And I got to be like, I use a rapier in all of my accounts. And if I had an off-roader, I have an off-roader 7, but I actually like my Nirvana, excuse me, my Nirvana, not my rapier, my Nirvana better. I like the Nirvana number 1 because it has, when it gets up, it's got 100 accuracy, but this does have better ball guide and it has a lot of tools. But to be quite honest with you, I have my problem is this number right here and this number right here. Now when an off-roader gets to level 8, I think it finally either beats or is about the same. It does hit a little bit less, but it has a little bit more topspin. My whole deal is that I want to hit fairway to fairway to green. I don't want to be in the rough, in the sand, in the rough, in the sand. I have clubs in my bag to help me if I get in the rough or in the sand, but the deal is that I don't want to have to use them. But when I do have to use them, the only reason I'm using them is to save me. And all of them, every single one of these clubs will work when you're up close in the rough or up close in the sand trap. And here's the green. But you pull these out and you're in the rough way out here in the fairway, and the only number that's going to matter to you, me, or everybody else is that number right there. And the second thing that's going to matter is that number right there. The rest of this shit goes out the window. Okay, we need distance. Because if you look at clubs in this game, and if we switch over here, just to kind of give you a quick example here of the clubs, what we should be looking for is a long iron. That long iron hits 125 to start off with. There's 118. There's 118. There's 130, 115, 127, 122, 127. So the lowest you're going to get there was 115. And that's when it first starts. When they're maxed out, 135 is the max that you're going to get from a long iron. So when we look at our clubs and we go down here to rough irons, and let's look at like what the distance is with a Nirvana. It's 135 when it's maxed out. It's 135 at level 7, 135 at level 6, 135, or excuse me, that's an Amazon. 135, 135. And I did play with an Amazon for a while because, once again, on some holes, if you can get caught in the fairway stuff, none of the rest of this crap is as important as like, hey, I need to get saved, and 135 can save me. And the cool thing about an Amazon, the bad thing about an Amazon is you think the ball guide blows in beginner clubs. This ball guide right here is almost non-existent. I mean, 1.2, 1.2, 1.8, shit, it takes it to level 6 before it finally gets to the point where it's as good as a basic club. But it has lots of topspin and it has lots of power right off the bat. So when I look at the machete, as far as power, those clubs down there, the Amazon and the Nirvana, those are long irons. This is a short iron even when it's maxed out. This one right here is a long iron. Okay, and it gets to long iron at 6th level. Not that I ever want to play with a Jungleist, but just using it as an example. The Rough Cutter doesn't meet the worst long iron out there, even when it's maxed out. And the Machete, while its power is not really good, at least it has more than what we have with that beginner one. I'm looking at power. I want power right off the bat. Like when I get the Amazon, I'll probably start playing with it just because but when I get to that point, I'll probably get a Nirvana pretty quick and I might switch. I'm looking for power. And 82 versus 60. 82 blows, but 60 blows. But here's the thing. It's 1,600 coins to take it from level 1 to level 2. Let's go look at that Machete again. To upgrade it, they're saying 1,000 to 2,000, and I can take mine to level 4. Is that right? So 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that correct? 43. So I can't take it to. No, I can only take it to level 3. And they're saying it's 1,600 coins to take it from level 1 to level 2. Well, if it's 1,600 from level 1 to level 2, what is it? 3,200 from level 2 to level 3. So there's 32, 42, 4,800. That's almost a third of my bankroll just to upgrade that one club. So before I start blowing a bunch of cash on clubs, I really need to think long and hard about how much I want to upgrade it. Now I can upgrade my Rough Cutter as well to level 3. And let's see if it gets any distance. It doesn't really start getting any noticeable distance until it gets to level 4. But it does go from 60 to 78, so it is 18 yards farther, and it does have a little bit of topspin when it gets to that point. Let's look at the Machete. The Machete the Machete really doesn't have, it's a backspin club. Most people that have played this game for a long time, if somebody said Machete, what's it famous for? They would say backspin. Backspin. So I'm not sure on my rough iron. Yeah, let me select that club so we can compare those two. So my Machete's already at 82. I can upgrade the thing I like about the Rough Cutter is that it's giving me a little bit better ball guide. It's getting me close to that distance, but it doesn't cost me 1,600 to upgrade it. And cheddar is a big deal. Like I don't want to run out of cheddar. I want to have cheddar so that I can be able to play, and if I lose some, I don't have to worry about it. If I don't win this, I'm going to have to go down to a lower tour. I'm going to upgrade this. We'll upgrade it again. And we'll upgrade it again. All right. So we have selected so we have a rough iron now, which is better than what we had before. We were only hitting 60 before, and now we're hitting 88. So we're 28 yards farther, and we've got 16 topspin. But we got better ball guide. So when you're recovering, it's super easy in this game, and you're going to see tons of people do it, where they go from the rough to the rough, from the sand to the sand, from the rough to the sand, from the sand to the rough. And what they do is they try and recover. They panic. And they try and recover instead of just putting the ball back in play, getting back in the fairway. And if you lose, you lose. But I guarantee you, if you end up in the rough again, you're going to lose. So, and if your opponent's hitting from the rough to the rough, and all you need to do is get into the fairway so you can stop the bleeding, you'll win. I'll play fairway to green. Let's try never to pull this club out. But if we do have to pull it out, a little bit of ball guide isn't going to hurt. And some more distance is definitely going to help us. Sand wedge. I really want to wait until I get my Malibu, because the Malibu, let's go look at those clubs. Not balls, clubs. Nobody wants to look at my balls. Castaway. Let's look at the beginner one again. The beginner sand wedge. What does it hit? It hits 40. Woo! 40. What does the Castaway hit? 84. Twice as much right off the bat. And it's got some backspin, and it's got more ball guide, and it's got some topspin, and it's got some curl. And you may need all that stuff when you're talking about these clubs, but that's big right there. The Castaway is, if you use the Castaway, it's going to go bye-bye real quick, because you will get a Malibu, and a Malibu is a better club. So we're hitting a little bit farther here, but as far as like putting something in our bag, we only want to use this club if we get in trouble. And we don't want to be in trouble. We want to be on the fairway. So having more distance is more important than like, hey, I've got this shiny little club here that's got all this stuff. Well, how far does it hit? Well, it doesn't hit very far. Well, hell, you're trying to use it to recover. And this isn't like real golf in the real world, where being in the rough is sometimes beneficial. You can see the Malibu hits the same kind of distance as the Castaway right off the bat. Its accuracy is good. No spin, but it does have good ball guide. I think I'm going to play with that Castaway. And let's think about selecting that Castaway, and let's see if it's worth. It'll be worth playing just because it has more power, and that's all I'm looking for here is the power. And I don't have any cards to upgrade it, so I don't have to worry about that. Now I'm going to stick with the beginning putter. What do I want to use as a driver? I'm going to just switch between either the quarterback or the extra mile. I'll just switch between those two clubs, because there are some of these holes that an extra mile would be beneficial. But there's some of these holes that the quarterback will be just good enough. It'll be fine. And I'm not going to update my rocket. Rocket, yeah. Okay, wood. Man, I really wanted to get that Viper or the Horizon, because I really just didn't want to have to pay for the upgrades for the Viper. And I have 132 cards, so I can upgrade it to level 4. And let's go back one more time, just look at that. At level 4, just so I make sure I'm getting my money's worth. The Viper at level 4, so it does hit 5 yards farther. The one number here that really stands out that I've seen on some of these holes that would have been beneficial is to have a little bit of backspin, just a little bit of spin, especially on a couple of the par 3s. It would have been nice just to have a little teeny bit of spin, but I'm not sure if I want to spend 2,240 coins to upgrade it. I'm going to just stick with the beginner for now. Long iron. And I probably should switch to the backbone, because it's probably a club that I am going to play with for a while. If I'm staying in these lower tours, I can't count on getting any more Saturns. So I'm going to play with the backbone. The backbone, and especially as we get our backbone up and level, it is a club that you can play with for a long time. If you're playing and you're going up the scales, you'll probably switch to a some more ball guide there. Upgrade it one more time. And then I'm not going to worry too much about there's a couple clubs I wouldn't mind getting, but now I'm getting into a thing where I really have to start writing down numbers. Short iron. I'm not sure if I look too much at the short irons. Let's look at short irons as far as Apache. Apache. What I really want is that Kingfisher. I think I skipped by the short irons, and we haven't talked about short irons yet. Short iron is another one of those clubs I'm looking for very specific stuff. And what I'm looking for with a short iron, because this is a money club. I mean, you're hitting short iron into the green, and what you really want is ball guide and accuracy. Having some and what's missing in a lot of lower level clubs is backspin, and a Kingfisher starts off with 50 backspin right out of the gate. Not a lot of topspin, not a lot of topspin all the way up to the top, but it does start off with some backspin in it, and that is key, because we can come into a lot of these holes and just put on a couple backspin, and if we've got enough ball guide, we can just walk it right into the cup. Its distance is what's hurting on the Kingfisher. A lot of times in tournament play, instead of using a Kingfisher, you may have to swap it out for the Runner, and the Runner's not a bad club. It does get distance and finally get a little bit ahead of it, but it's got topspin, and that's what makes it the Runner. So its distance isn't really that big, but it's got that topspin so that you can run it up to the cup. Its ball guide blows, but I think the Apache, I mean, I have to get the Apache as far as, let's see what my short iron, I'm not sure how far does it hits 75 yards for a beginner. And with the Apache, it does hit more off the top, but I really haven't found that that's what's lacking in my bag. It does give me a little bit of topspin right out of the gate, but its ball guide's even worse than what I have. I'm not going to get any better ball guide to really speak of until I get to level 4, but really until you get to level 6. It does make a little bit of jump. It's got more power, it's got more ball guide, get a little bit of topspin, a little bit of backspin. I think I'm going to just stick with what I have until I can get my Kingfisher, because the second I get a Kingfisher at level 1, I'm going to use it, and I'm going to keep using it until I can get my Hornet and get my Hornet up some levels. And once again, it's got ball guide and it's got accuracy. It is a really good club. All right, I think I'm just going to stick with that one. So what I need to do is I need to write down some numbers. So if I'm using a QB, it is at 73 accurate, and I'm going to count that as 75, so that's 1.5 per ring. He's got beginning wood. My wood is at 2.8, and the long iron, beginning long iron, is at long iron is at 2.8. The short iron is at 2.8, and Firefly is at basically 40, so it's at 2.2. So my wedge is 2.2, and I'm going to write down on my notes 2.2, 4.4. So here's max, here's where your red line's at, and here's where you're at. And with a wedge, the thing about a wedge is that it's different. Wedges, sand irons, and rough irons are all different in the fact that you can hit from its maximum to right to where you're standing. You can hit it right in front of you. So the distance here is 35 yards, and so everything within this distance, here's your max, here's your mid, here's your minimum. Your minimum is where you're standing. So if I'm at max club, I'm going to hit the 2.2, and if I'm at mid club, I'm going to hit the 4.4. That's just how I play it. Just so you know. The dart. Oh. Picked the wrong one there. Rough iron. Rough iron. Rough iron. Wood, long iron, short iron. Rough iron is 84 accurate, so I'm going to count that as 85 accurate. And 100 accurate is 1 per ring, 95 is 1.1, 90 is 1.2, and 85 is 1.3. So I'm going to do 1.3 per ring. And my sand wedge is at 25 accurate. So sand wedge is at 25, so that's 2.5. Is that right? Yes. 2.5. So now we have a bag. That's not the greatest bag in the world, especially those the wood, the long iron, and I could put some clubs in there, but really I don't think they're going to make any difference. What's going to make a difference in this is the driver and the wedge. The wedge being number 1, the driver being number 2. All right, let's go play. Let's see what we can get done. And I'm gonna bring out we got these 4 balls right here I bought these because I needed gems so that I could open up chests, and then we got these 4 balls for free. We got 5 of each of them, so I do have a few balls in here, and I will tell you that you save these balls for tournaments. If one of these balls will help me, I'm going to use it, because a lot of times a better ball will make it so that it'll make up for the lack of club. I'm going to use the cool thing about having a few gems is that you can buy a few balls. I'm going to buy some. I'm going to take a navigator. See if I have notes for this tournament, but I am sure that those notes are not going to work for where I'm putting the ball with this account. And it'll take me, it's been pretty easy to work out the win stuff because all the clubs are the same, but now I'm going to have to, and I have numbers written down, and now I'm going to have to pay attention to it. I got my calculator out. If you're using the app, and if you like using the app, or if you're really contemplating using the app, start now, because the app is, once again, there's a learning curve in doing it, and if you start off by using the app and you learn how to do it now, it'll just become second nature, and you won't think about it. Hold on one second. Where am I got? I got 41 minutes. So we've prepped for the tournament. So I'm going to stop this video, and then I will fire up the one and we will get started. Thanks for watching. I'm going to put this in the 101 classes just for pre-tournament setup for the very first tournament, and I updated some clubs, and we will see how we do. My goal in this tournament, and one of the reasons why I wanted a bigger driver, is because a lot of these holes I could get to the green with the wood if I had a better driver, but I can't get to the spot to get, so I have to hit the shot, go to the fairway, and then hit the shot onto the green. And I think with just an extra mile 1, I can now start to get on some of these greens on, and what my goal is to shoot minimum score, which is 12. So every par 3 in the game, if you get a hole-in-one, you get plus 2, but if you get birdie, you get plus 1, and we're looking for a birdie. Birdie's just, you get on the green and you make your putt, you move along, you get a plus 1, you get a birdie. When you're on a par 4, we're looking for eagle. We want to get on the green or right off the green and then get it in the hole and end up getting a plus 2 and getting an eagle, just like a hole-in-one is an eagle. But on a lot of these par 4s, the average score is birdie, and birdie is plus 1. On par 5s, most of, not all of, but most of the par 5s in the game of Golf Clash are eagle holes, are birdie holes with that, get my tongue to work here. They are eagle holes with an Albie opportunity. There are some holes in the game that are birdie holes with an eagle opportunity, but most of the par 5s in this game, we're trying to get plus 2, where we got up there and then we got in the hole, or plus 1. We're trying, or plus 3. We're trying to get an albatross, plus 3. But the average is that you get up there, you get on the green, you miss your Albie shot. You get on the green, you make your putt, you get an eagle, you get a plus 2. And if you get a birdie, it's a plus 1. You actually drop the shot. And so minimum score on a par 5 is plus 2, and minimum score on a par 4 is plus 1, and minimum score on a par 3 is plus 1. So in every tournament we have 3 par 3s, so that's 3, and we have 3 par 4s, that's 3, and we have 3 par 5s, that's 6, and so 6 plus 6 equals 12, so 12 is the minimum score. That's just shooting just a clean round. You didn't make any mistakes, you didn't pick anything up, you didn't do anything special, you just got the minimum score. All rounds start with plus 12. I know you can see in a lot of these tournaments where plus 15 or plus 16 is like what you need to get in order to be anywhere near it, and that's obviously higher than the plus 12. But this all started, you'll look at the people who got these rounds, and very seldom will you ever see where they dropped one of these shots. It happens. I mean, I've won some tournaments and scored some big rounds where I dropped some shots, missed some putts, and it can happen. But most of the time, the people that are at the top all shot the base 12, and then every time they picked something up, they were able to hold on to it. It went towards the win, it went towards the banner, it went towards the top 10. So we always want to shoot minimum of plus 12, and I think in this account with those clubs I can shoot a minus 24 and just shoot the minimum score. That's all I'm looking for, is just minimum score. All right, thanks for watching. Everybody have a great week. I'm gonna shoot some more, and I will I'll put the next video we're in the tournament, I'll put it in the 101 stuff, because one of the main reasons about playing this game is playing in tournaments. And so start off early and just go out there and play smart. Thanks for watching. Be safe. Hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Hit the like if you like the videos, and hit the bell. Thanks for watching. Hey.